So nurses, let me tell you what we're thankful for on Thanksgiving.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, lamb, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rat. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes.
Oh, yes, it is Thanksgiving. I am thankful. Number one, because I'm off this Thanksgiving. And you know what that means when I'm off on Thanksgiving?
Lamb, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rat. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, beans, greens.
Hey! So he started out with that because yes, for half of the nurses in the world, half of the nurses are off, and the other half are on. And that's why I wanted to start with nurses, because I am off. This is one of my holidays where I get off. And first of all, it's because of the switches. I don't remember a Thanksgiving I worked. Grew up in a Muslim family. I don't celebrate Christmas, so I always switch with nurses and my coworkers at work from working Thanksgiving to working Christmas. So if it's my Christmas year, I get Thanksgiving off. If it's my Thanksgiving year, I just switch with someone. I don't even know what year it is this year, but I have Thanksgiving off. I'm working Christmas. I have New Year's Eve off. And that's just, I love that situation. So that's first and foremost, thank you for all the switches. Number two, I'm thankful for my coworkers. So yes, the switches come part of my coworkers, but because the way I am allowed to, and I know that nurse.org did this thing where nurses support nurses don't eat their young. I love that whole situation, but specifically the coworkers every single day I go into work. You guys know as nurses, it's a very stressful job. It's a horrific job. It's hard. It's horrific, not horrific. It's one of those jobs that you really go to work all day and you give all of who you are to your patients. You try to bring people from the worst situations, from the most vulnerable situations, and bring them up, and not just the patients in the bed, the patients, the families, all of those situations. And it could take a goddamn toll on you. It could rip your heart out sometimes. Some patients go, sometimes you feel horrible because you feel like you could have done so much more. But no, thanks to the coworkers, thanks to the people who do the job with you, you were allowed to continue, you were allowed to go back into work, and yes, you were allowed to make those switches so you have Thanksgiving off. And I just want to do a mini story. Before I talk about this mini story, I want to just say, not just the nurses that I work with. And when I say coworkers, I really do mean coworkers. The aides, the pharmacists, the doctors, all of these human beings. A lot of the times, especially where I work, we have doctors bring in food for us, buy us pizza, bring us bagels, munchkins, the whole nine. Nursing aides that literally allow us to do the job that we do every single day. And I love it. So story time, just a quick story about why I love my coworkers so much. So one of my coworkers from my previous job, Katie, she was like, yeah, we should work together again. So I went into work. I literally told my boss, my a previous coworker of mine was thinking about coming to work here. Can she come into shadow right away? Janice, you're the goddamn shit. Right away, she was like, yeah, have a shadow. You come on in. We would love to have her the whole nine. She comes in the day after. She's like, yeah, tell her to call, give me the resume, the whole nine. Let's get it going. And she started about a few weeks ago, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. And if you don't know who Katie Piccolo is, the first nurse I've ever had on the Everyday Hero show was Katie Piccolo. I'll show you a picture somewhere. And it makes me so much happier to know. The reason Katie is huge for me because she was my preceptor at my first nursing job. And at my first nursing job, as a new nurse, you don't know anything. And it's the scariest thing in the world. Literally the most scared I've ever been being a nurse was the first few months I was a nurse. And Katie literally walked me through the whole thing. Katie, you're goddamn awesome. Janice, amazing. I mean, just she was just like, yeah, we would love to have her on. We would hire whatever position. Love it. It just makes me walk into work when I see both my manager and Katie at work. It just makes me really special. Makes me really happy. That's just a very small example. If you watch any of my stuff all day, every day, I'm always talking about my coworkers. I love all of my coworkers. That's just a most recent big thing that happened that literally just makes me just happier every day I walk into work. Every single day I walk into work. I talk about the nurses and my coworkers because they allow me to come back every single day. But the reason I come back, literally, the reason I get paid, the reason I have the job, the reason I'm a nurse is because of the patients. And I know it's corny to say, but yes, I am very thankful for my patients. It sounds weird to say, but my patients, yes. Of course, we want no one to ever come to the hospital. The goal for a nurse, for healthcare providers, to be in a situation where the people that are in the hospitals are just coming up for checkups, and that's it. That is it. But this is the world we live in. Accidents happen, people get sick. It's the world we're living in. And because we have our patients, I have to say, honest to God, I talk about how afraid I am, how scared I am, how much of a toll this takes on me. I'm taking care of the patients that are actually going through the worst time of their lives. We are actually taking care of these patients that it's literally their family members, everyone. This is the worst situation they've ever been in their entire life. And I'd say 90% of the time. I bitch, I moan, I complain, I yell, the call bells, the how often this, the family's mean, the patients yelling, all of this. I talk about all of that stuff. But the vast majority, and this is the honest truth, the vast majority of the patients I take care of on a daily basis are kind human beings, and most of the time they're smiling more so than I am. They're happier more than I am. They inspire me. They get me going. They tell me stories. The whole nine. I love being a nurse. Yes, because the coworkers allow me to continue doing it, but the reason I do it is because of the patients. You guys are absolutely amazing. I am thoroughly thankful for you guys. And I always say the patients, but I also include the family. I always will include the families, because you guys are part of the care we are doing when it comes to family-centered care. Huge thank you to this is my last thing about nurses in general, and this is a little on the personal side, but especially in Massachusetts, this past midterm elections, we had this bill, the yes versus no on mandated ratios. I was on the yes side, Massachusetts voted no, but I wanted to just shout out to Leahy. You guys put up with a lot of my shit. I was a hardcore yes, putting videos out every week. You guys know this shit. But I just wanted to say thank you to Leahy. You put up with my shit. There was no retaliation. They were super supportive of everything I stood for. They might have disagreed, but they were like, do you boo-boo, tell as many people as you want, screaming at the rooftops. Super supportive of me being on the exact opposite side of what they were pushing for, and I love it for. I go to work, I'm not afraid I'm gonna lose my job. None of this stuff is gonna happen. Great place to work. I still disagree. I still think it should have been a yes, but I love all of my coworkers, all of the management, all of Leahy has been super supportive of the fact that I disagreed with the entire organization, which I think is kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing. So thank you for that, and I am thankful for that. And my favorite grandma.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, pork, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rat. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Enjoy it.
Greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, pork, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes.